This morning, the Guthrie family refusing to give up hope with that new plea from Savannah, now over 2 weeks into the search for their missing mom, Nancy. And as the investigation continues, we're learning more about the gloves found in the area. According to the FBI, teams have recovered 16 gloves, many the FBI believes left behind by searchers. But according to a person familiar with the matter, one of them, found about 2 miles from her house, is consistent with the type of glove the suspect was wearing in the doorbell surveillance video. The FBI says the DNA on that glove appears to belong to an unknown male. According to a federal law enforcement source with knowledge of the investigation, investigators are not categorizing the case as any particular type of crime at this stage, adding that a burglary-robbery scenario is just one of the myriad theories being considered. After that scenario circulated over the weekend, the sheriff telling NBC affiliate KVOA, "I have no idea where that came from." Authorities going through the tips pouring in.
Are you close to finding this person?
We think we're getting there. We think we're getting closer.
Yet on Friday, another letdown after law enforcement, including SWAT teams, swarmed a home a mile from Nancy's property. You can hear authorities here yelling at people inside as they served a search warrant. They later conducted a traffic stop of this Range Rover. Ultimately, no arrests were made. Two law enforcement sources tell NBC News investigators are leaning away from the person who owns that home, along with the delivery driver they detained last week in Rio Rico. Those same officials say investigators are also leaning away from any of Nancy's relatives as potential suspects, now stressing that surveillance video footage could be key. Investigators working with private companies, including Google, to uncover more video.
You're working with the tech companies still?
And yeah, we've asked them, and they're working as best they can.
And as for the glove, the FBI says they're going to add the DNA on it to their national database. They say results for that take about 24 hours. Investigators are also still working to identify the DNA taken from the property that the sheriff's department says is not Nancy's or someone close to her. The big question, and something we don't know yet, is will those two samples be a match? Craig.
Liz Kreutz there for us in Arizona. Liz, thank you. Let's bring in NBC's Tom Winter, our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent. Tom, let's start where Liz left off there. Let's start with that glove that was found near Nancy's home. The DNA in her house that does not match her or anyone close to her. How significant could those two key pieces of evidence be?
You know, I know a lot of people are focused on the fact that they've got a glove and there's DNA on it, and that's what the FBI said in their statement. But I think our focus and our reporting over the weekend is actually on the rest of that information, which is that glove was found approximately 2 miles from the house. And it belongs to somebody that they haven't identified. It's male DNA. If it had female DNA on it, or it had Nancy's DNA on it, that would be very significant. At that point, you would say, okay, this definitely has a nexus to the crime. And then you would start to just focus in on that entire area. And is there any video we can get, or does that advance the timeline? That would be critical, but that's not the case. And the National DNA Database, just so people understand, that is made up of people that have been arrested and or convicted of crimes. When you look at the total size of that, it's only approximately 6.5–7% of the population. So even if you get a match, the best it tells us is that somebody with a criminal record was in an area 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house at a timetable that we don't know. So I think investigators that are looking at that information are perhaps not looking at that as the clue that I think a lot of other people are.
There was a lot of police activity on Friday. There was a SWAT roll, a car. There was a lot of attention on that. Did that yield anything for investigators?
Yeah, Hoda, that whole search came up very quickly on Friday night. And basically what they're doing is they're saying if they think they have a good lead, in a normal investigation, they might take 2 or 3 more days to really kind of figure out as much as they can. In this case, because, you know, we don't know where Nancy is, we don't know what's happened to her, they're moving much faster. So there was a federal search warrant, SWAT team rolls up, they take a number of individuals. You know, you hear that people are detained. They're just detained because they're conducting a search warrant. They don't want people walking around a house or a potential area where they could find evidence. But as Liz mentioned, it's our reporting with my colleague Jonathan Dienst over the weekend that, look, they're shying away from those individuals as well.
Tom, you've covered cases like this for a long time. You're very well sourced. I know you've been talking to some of these investigators. What are they saying about how they feel about this investigation as we head into this third week? What's their attitude at this point?
You hear third week, you hear that, you know, we got that incredible doorbell video last Tuesday. we thought, I know I told you both privately, I thought, 48 hours around then we would really perhaps start to have some breaks in the case. They still have some good leads. We spoke with them over the weekend. There's still a number of avenues that they're pursuing that they like, that they want to know more about people, they want to know more about events, they want to know more about. So I think the feeling there is kind of until that is exhausted, until those leads run out, and the priority leads that they're getting in as they continue to get the phone calls. If those run out, then I think that they've got to think about some new tactics or think about where the investigation goes from here. But you heard Savannah this morning. They're still pleading for those calls to come in. They still believe they can solve this crime. And that's where their head's at this morning. We'll continue to track that and report, obviously, on what they get or what they don't get over the next couple of days.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep. Tom, thanks as always. And, of course, we'll have the latest updates throughout the morning. And to Tom's point there, if you know anything, if you've heard anything, the phone number is right there on your screen, the FBI tip line, 1-800-CALL-FBI.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.